What's up, spilled milkers? Sorry, this is coming to you on the weekend. I have been shooting season 4 of Wild Game Kitchen. So out the door at 7 a.m., home at 8:30, 8:45. So it's been nuts. Thanks for putting up with me. I hope you enjoyed the recipe this week. Let's get right down to business. Jandos writes, question about your use of a torch to melt cheese. I'm worried about introducing carcinogens to my food by way of direct flame. Is that a reasonable concern? That's entirely reasonable concern. I use a torch all the time for things. I like the instant melt factor on it. I like it more for demos of the type that I do in those quick videos because I don't have to put something underneath my broiler. I also have a Searsol, which is a sort of an infrared type of gas thing that the folks at Booker and Dax invented. So yeah, it probably has more to do with my laziness than anything else. But you know, I'm gonna live forever. That's my own personal take. Mandy writes, I recently found out I have to get my gallbladder removed. Sorry to hear that. The operation is in a month, and until then, I have to eat as low fat as possible. Yes, you do. Do you have any tips for how I can do this and not starve? Oh my gosh, yes. Fish, cruciferous vegetables. Take the olive oil and the butter in your house and get rid of it. And don't eat red meats with fats. And you have 1 month to do it. That's 28 days. So let's do hard-boiled eggs in the morning, or fat-free milk or skim milk over cereal, or fat-free yogurt, or do Japanese breakfast, which is what I do most of the time, which is fish and a little bit of miso soup. And do, speaking of soups, make lentil soups, bean soups. They can be low in fat, just don't put a lot of pork shoulder in them. And you will be fine. There are so many incredible things. And by the way, check out my website, andrewzimmern.com. Lots of tips on there. But if I leaned over to my computer and wrote tasty, fat-free foods, you'd probably have to ignore half of them. And the reason is that it's low-fat or no-fat versions of high-fat foods. And I'm not a real big fan of that kind of stuff. Like if I want something that doesn't have fat in it that's good for me, I'd like to eat an apple. I don't want a no-fat, sugar-free creme brulee. Does that make sense? But I think with 1 month to go with something as important as this, you can do it. You can do avocado, which does have some fats in it, and lemon juice, and whip it in a food processor as a dressing, along with some, add some fat-free sour cream or something, thin it out a little bit, and do a lot of vegetable salads and things. I love taking salads and just squirting orange juice over the top of it, and a little bit of lemon juice and some cracked black pepper. You don't even need any oil. That's over chopped salads that have like cucumber, radish, fennel, carrot, onion, celery, etc. Go for it. You're going to be okay. And chicken breasts. I know it sounds like I'm consigning you to a death sentence, but broiled chicken breasts, don't overcook them, keep them moist, slice them, and mix soy sauce and lemon juice, 2 parts to 1 part, soy to lemon juice, and grate daikon radish into it, and some scallion and some togarashi, and dip your chicken in that. You'll be happy as a clam, and have some white rice with it. Killer. Scott writes, I would love to make your shrimp burgers, but my wife hates shrimp. Then don't make them, buddy. She thinks it always tastes of bleach. Interesting. I hate to hear what she thinks about cilantro. I haven't had much luck finding shrimp she'll eat. Any ideas? Could I use another type of seafood? Oh my gosh, you can use any type of seafood. I would start with raw product, not with flake, but don't make a cooked salmon cake or something like that. But if she likes lobster, do it with lobster, right? You just dip the lobster, break apart the shells and claws from the body, dip them into water, boiling water for like 60 seconds, and you can extract the meat. It'll still be 80% raw, and just pulse that in a food processor and do the same kind of thing. Yeah, I love shrimp burgers. A clarification about the shrimp burger recipe. Typically, I don't use the breadcrumb and egg and melted butter unless I'm making the patties. Usually, I will just eschew those ingredients and make little nudie, little poached nudie with that force meat, or pan fry a patty of it or stir fry it and shove it inside an omelet or something. She may like that. Reese writes, do you hunt with your dogs? They're both behind me, and I'm sure they know that I'm talking about them. So Luca came in. I had high hopes for him, but he wants to just cuddle up in bed and just sleep around my head. Clemmy is way too hyper, and it took me a while to just get her to bring the temperature down. And I'm hoping that dog number 3 will be just right. It's my Goldilocks dog story. They would be fantastic upland bird dogs, legatos, I'm sure of it. Andrew, this is Brian. We got a pizza oven. We're ready to try. Oh, sorry. Mitchell writes, what is your favorite way to prepare pheasants? Oh my gosh. Sear them in a pan or on the grill, and then put them to the side, sweat some garlic and mushroom and onion and carrot and celery and fennel and rosemary, and hit some red wine with it, little tomato, and cook that for half an hour until it's nice and thick, like a hunter style, like a cacciatore kind of thing, and then cook the pheasants for like 10, 12 minutes in it after they've been marked on the grill. Is fantastic. Season 1 of Wild Game Kitchen, recipes on my website. Also, I did with 5 apple elements, 4 apple cider vinegar, apple cider, diced apples, applesauce, apple brandy, cream, shallots, tarragon. Delicious, kind of like a northern French sort of take. I will do anything with pheasant that I do with chicken. I just make sure to cook it less. Don't overcook your pheasant. And I do confit the legs, which is delicious. I mean, really delicious. Someone's trying to send me a message. But earlier today, I was cooking a partridge, and I had plucked it. I had taken all the feathers off of it, as opposed to ripping the skin and the feathers out all at once, as many hunters do. And if I do that with a pheasant, I'll just turn it on a indirect heat, just next to a really hot coal bed. Rub it with olive oil and herbs, stuff herbs in the cavity, and just keep rolling it around. Let the breast side almost cook with ambient heat, and grill it on those legs. And when it's just at the point of being done, let it rest. Slice the breast meat off the frame, serve it with the legs, just like you would grilled chicken pieces. It's heaven. Little olive oil and salt. Brian says, we got a pizza oven and are ready to try some new toppings now that we've gotten the crust pretty good. Right on. What are some of off the beaten path toppings we could do? What do you like to put on a pizza? I like, I know this is going to sound nuts. I'm a simpler is better. I like to do a marinara pizza with oregano and maybe thin, really thin pieces of confit garlic or, it's just my favorite thing in the whole world. That's my favorite pie. Then it's a margarita. Then it's things with toppings. But when it comes with toppings, I like things that are spicy and salty with something that's a little sweet. Yes, I do eat pineapple on my pizza, but it doesn't have to be pineapple. Sliced figs are fantastic on pizza. Is one of my favorite things to do with figs. So that's a nice sweet element that you can throw on there. But even caramelizing onions and dropping them with little pieces of nduja, right, which is the Calabrian spicy sort of liverwurst texture salami is fantastic. I also am a big fan of prosciutto on pizza. I do like to put it on at the last moment. I like pistachios, crushed pistachios, and mortadella on my pizza is delicious. I put the mortadella on thinly shaved, very thinly shaved at the end after it comes out of the pizza oven, along with crushed pistachios, or maybe you brush the crust with a little pistachio pesto and maybe a cheese like Taleggio or Fontina, and then put the mortadella on at the end. Let's see, what else? Pizza. Oh, I am going to, there's a Southwestern Asia or Eastern Mediterranean flatbread that's covered with a very fine sausage that has made with diced sweet red peppers and hot chilies, lamacun that's just out of this world. And I need to post that recipe. Maybe I'll do that in the coming weeks for you. But there are flatbreads made with pizza bread, essentially, or pizza dough, rather, from other countries that are absolutely breathtaking. Lahmacun. Look it up and try one. It's out of control. It's made with ground lamb, and you make this lamb, parsley, onion, chili, roast red pepper, like tartare, and smear it on this bread and throw it in your pizza oven. It's out of control. Robbie writes, Andrew, we're loving Wild Game Kitchen at my hunting club. Got a lot of Wild Game Kitchen talk today. Well, we're in premieres too. That's probably why a lot of my fans are probably watching. Monday nights at 9 on the Outdoor Channel. And we just put season 3 recipes up on andrewzimmern.com. We would love to do a venison liver pate from a harvested animal, but most recipes are all over the board on ingredients. Any suggestions? Also, will it be okay if the liver is frozen? Yes, if the liver is frozen. Do I have a venison liver pate? When I moved to Minneapolis 32 years ago, I opened up a French restaurant here and was the chef there for 7 years. And there were a couple things I wanted to make sure I did, and I wouldn't let other people do it. I had to give myself certain things on the prep board to make sure to do, and one of them was our terrine of the day. And I loved making terrines. Oh my gosh, so good. So you can puree venison liver along with like ground pork fat, a couple eggs, a cup of cream, some herbs, fresh chopped herbs. And then when it comes out of the food processor or the grinder, mix in, pistachios and maybe some prunes soaked in brandy. Soak them for 6-8 hours. Throw those in there. Lay it all into terrine mold. Bake it at 275 degrees because you want it nice and pink after it's done cooling. And when it reaches about 145, 150 degrees on the inside, take it out. You need to cut a piece of cardboard the size of your terrine mold and put it on top and gently weight it on a tray. The fat and juices, some of them will spill over. Believe me, it'll be plenty moist. Chill it overnight in your fridge, and then take it out, remove the weights and the cardboard, flip it upside down. By the way, you can line your mold with parchment paper or even saran wrap if you're heating it at a low enough temperature. And it's out of control. I mean, so easy and so good. However, I would say, why don't you do that with other livers? If you have something, I treasure the liver of the animals that I take, whether they're little birds, ducks, geese, or larger animals. And venison liver, when you get a fresh one, there is nothing better to slice thin, dip in milk, dust in flour, pan fry it just for 30 seconds on each side, hot pan, and make a traditional calf's liver veneziana, but instead of with calf's liver, do it with venison liver. Deglaze the pan with some onions, some vinegar, a little pinch of sugar, some rosemary, a little bit of stock, reduce that to a sauce. If you want to hit it with a tablespoon or two of cream, you can. Maybe a teaspoon of mustard, swirl that around and pour that over the top. That traditional Italian calf's liver dish or the French bistro style, which is essentially the same dish. If I see that on a menu, that's what I order for dinner. I love, love, love liver. So, Tyler writes, I hear you're a Giants fan. How would you fix the team? Oh my gosh. As I'm recording this, I'm dreading the fact that in 48 hours we play Miami. And with our problems that we have on defense, we got a lot of problems on offense. That offensive line, people should not touch Daniel Jones as often as they do. It seems like every team gets their season highs in pressures and sacks against the Giants. But I think teams with speed are just going to slice the Giants apart. We have to be able to protect the quarterback so we can get our running game going. Even if Saquon is out, we have to be able to get our running game going. It sets up our passing game. We can't have, even though our receiving core isn't the greatest, we're not even giving Daniel Jones a chance. He's a big, tough guy, and he can run with his legs. So that sounded dumb, didn't it? Of course he can run with it, but he's good on his feet. So if we can get the running game going, and he can play action, and we have a design run or two, then defenses have to respect what we're doing whenever he drops back and turns to his left or right, and we can play fake the heck out of the ball, and then he can throw the ball. The guy's got a cannon. So I think we have problems with the offensive line. And we really, the Giants have always stood for a great, great defense. Where's it been? We haven't had one for a while. I'm not in love with the coach. But I'm not going to say let's get rid of him right now. Sandy writes, I loved your post on cookbooks. What are some books that mean a lot to you? Anything you read again and again? Anything by Somerset Maugham? Anything by Dickens? Somerset Maugham's collection of short stories. I think there's volumes 1 or 2 now of something called South Seas Stories. Includes all his classics, but I don't think anyone brings you back to a place in time quite the way Somerset Maugham, Maugham, one of my favorite writers. Anything by John Irving. I just reread everything that John Irving has ever written over the last year. And Cider House Rules, World According to Garp. These are incredible classics. Joaquin writes, do you sharpen your own knives? Yes. I have stones. I keep them wet. I put a new edge on them, and then I use my steel and hone them. So yeah, I do. Every couple of years, I send everything out to have a new edge put on if I'm having trouble or if there's a chip or something is aberrant in one. But yeah, I sharpen my own knives. Shun Knives sells stones and a sharpening kit, and they have great videos as well on their website. So until next time, Spilled Milkers, thanks for the great questions.